Hey there, Smite fans, and welcome back to North America for our fourth and final set of the day and eighth and final set of the weekend that we're broadcasting. Like Trelly said earlier, oh yeah, Gore and Trelly. Like you said earlier, there's just so much Smite going on, man. I know J-Mac was even just talking about it that what Allocate Club Basket of E-Kittens is about to start kicking off as well. And I believe there's a channel that's streaming some of the backup games, and they're watching, and he was very excited to be able to watch that one as well as the one that we're going to tune into, which is Borscht and Team Name, but with five M's. It has been a very, very competitive day. I'm going to go ahead and weave in this while I have the opportunity, which is if you aren't playing right now or want to be playing and just haven't gotten access yet, well, maybe you're waiting to kind of see where things are. Well, I've got good news for a way for you to get in without it costing you anything, which is that you can just do exclamation point access in chat. You'll get a little link there. You click that guy, enter the code SMITE2 esports, and you can grab a key and, of course, start playing today. So, something that you should be looking out for if you want to play competitive. Maybe you just think you're particularly really good after your first couple of games. You can get a team together. Oh, there's an open bracket tournament going on every single week in North America and EMEA and LATAM and APAC and Brazil for the next, outside of this week, 3 more weeks after this. So there's plenty of time to compete, plenty of time to sign up. And even if you're not competing, plenty of time to just game and have fun as we continue to move on through the Founders Series. Right now, we're in stage 2A, is what we've been watching Swiss for North America and EMEA. And as I just mentioned, Borscht and Team Name, but with five M's. And Trelly, man, the last one we saw was already a really good show. It was a
For
2-0
sure.
still for Cowabunga. This one feels like it could just be an absolute, I mean, one of the most memorable sets that maybe we have, period, of the Founders series. And realistically, it's going to be interesting to see because as these teams are both 1-0, that does mean only one of them for now, as we move forward through that bracket, will go to the 2-0 stage right up at the top. The other one will go to 1-1. And realistically, I will say there are a lot of strong teams that are going to be in 1-1. But I will also say, I mean, God's help whoever lands in there with Borscht or Team Name, but with five M's, because I feel like that's going to be a tough match no matter who you are.
Absolutely. And this was my self-proclaimed match of the week, right? When I got to review what we are going to be looking at so far for this weekend, this was the set that I looked at and I was like, yeah, that's gonna be the banger. Like there's gonna be a lot of bangers, but that's gonna be the one that we all need to lock into. Gonna be some possible revenge matches. There's gonna be some ex-teammates facing up against each other from Smite 1. I mean, just everything that you could want and more. And there's only one team that gets to move on to the 2-0 side of the bracket. And that's even more exciting because once you're in that side, you already know, Gore, one win, you get to skip over. You get to go right over and just continue on your path to try and lock into Vegas. That's what everyone is fighting for, and that's what they're after.
Mhm.
So definitely a bit of a grudge match here, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, no, this one again is a matchup that we've just seen and has always looked really, really fun on paper. But these players as a whole are always really fun to watch. And realistically, and now that I'm looking at it, something we haven't gotten to push in a little while, Shelly. But Pagon versus Benny Q, right? The brothers going against each other. And yes, I'm going to use it while we have the opportunity because we have the opportunity. It has just been, again, a very fun matchup. I think we've seen it scream. I know PBM is streaming. I would be amazed if FineOK wasn't. Like, a lot of these guys are going to be streaming their POVs as well. So it's going to be a really, really fun watch. And everyone in this matchup, I feel like there's so much capability for flexibility
Right.
in God pool, in play style. Like, I don't know what we're about to get, and that makes me even more excited.
Right. I during the 25-minute downtime, I was eating dinner and I was watching Mike stream just to kind of see, he keeps his stream muted because they're just talking strategy. But bro was just owning the Ymir bots with a support Neath build for like an hour. Like he was just trying out new items. Like, Stone of Binding does this. Oh, and like Skyward does this. So there's so many different items. I don't know if that means he's really locked in or really trolling. We'll have to see. If it's Mike, I assume he thinks that the Neath support build might have some bit of viability. But regardless, Just trying to get pumped for the matchup. So this goes to show, yes, they are streaming, and yes, sometimes you'll get some useful tech, and other times you'll watch like just own a Ymir bot for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, how much weight are you putting into the potential of a Neath support? Like
Again, because it's Mike, I'll do like
it gets a mic buff, right?
there's like a 30% chance we see it, I would say. I'll give it 30%.
Well, hey, I'm gonna tell you, 30%, pretty high, all things considered. Like when you are looking at who else would potentially lock this in. Admittedly, if anyone was gonna do it, I could see Fine OK doing it for completely different reasons. That's like a haha, we think we're gonna win this. I can play Neath support. But we'll see. We'll see whether or not PBM locks it in. I feel like we've been seeing a lot. The discussion around like the Ares last set was pretty solid. I feel like could fit in here. I You had even mentioned it, Athena, who is not bad by any means, but just kind of gets outclassed right now or
Mhm.
outshone by some of the others. Kind of curious where she might be. And so instead of just sitting here and speculating and asking you about Mike's Neath support stream, I can instead ask you about the picks and bans as we see them unroll in game one. Team but with 5 M's up against Borscht. And now team with 5 M's will be the first pick. They're going to be first ban as well. Get rid of the Morrigan up front, which usually to me, and Trelly, again, this is something we've seen quite a bit of. Ban something, right? Let Fenrir through in the ideal world of your first pick. And if you get rid of the Morrigan, that means they can't also have a Fenrir. Downside, the other team can still ban Fenrir. And that's exactly what happens here. Borscht get rid of that. Team with 5 M's have to figure out where they go with this first pick. You had talked a little bit about how Anubis had been on the rise, but some teams, like while they were banning him yesterday, he wasn't doing too hot. Earlier today, he does great, but he wasn't the first pick. And instead, I think it's something we can both agree on. The Odin.
Yeah, the Odin was pretty obvious there just by nature of you want a strong frontliner, you don't want to reveal too much about the rest of your draft, and Odin is just always good. Usually the follow-up is, I was going to say, Ymir and Bacchus, because Bacchus is the king of the solo lane at the moment, still very strong, or I guess was the king of the solo lane. Now, falls a little bit behind if you want to lock it in, but still has a good matchup. You do have to worry about Odin and things like that, but never going to be a bad look. I wouldn't be surprised if Odin went jungle. It's still a possibility, but do we see something like the Mordred team name with 5M4? Are they just going to try and lock in ADC for Cyclone Spin? I mean, Jingwei is still very powerful, has a great matchup into Bacchus, and Cyclone likes to go to it, so I wouldn't hate seeing that locked in here. I can also see a world where Team Name with 5Ms just tries to get a jungler ahead of time. It's not as if Scream doesn't have a deep god pool, but taking the Loki away, never going to be a bad thing.
Yeah, you force Rat Milk into just a different choice, right? You also get the Hecate, which for quite a few players was high prioritized. Is actually something you mentioned last set as well for Cowabunga, because Paul had been loving this god for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And so not too surprising to see Team But with 5Ms go for it. And I will admit, JMac has corrupted my brain. I'm curious to see if this goes anywhere that's not mid. Just because I know there were a few players, maybe not competitively, but a few players who have really liked her, as, to see what she can do support-wise because of the displacement. I feel like her damage is really solid. Matchup up against an Anubis, and on her even gets locked in on the other side, which means, in my mind, we're in for an interesting set.
Yep, I mean, on her, Anubis is going to bring pressure early. Bacchus and Ymir also can lean on that, so definitely a composition that Borscht is coming out swinging with, trying to get pressure across the map and not let things like Loki and Hecate see the light of day at level 20. But where are these picks going? Still a bit of a question mark. I got to see the rest of the draft before I really lock in. I said that the Odin could go jungle, but now that Loki's locked in, I think he's pretty much consistent with that solo lane for the time being. Again, could be Cyclone Spin taking the Neath, or Mike's tech that he has been practicing for hours could be showing through. One more pick would do it. Is it going to be a tank?
Be fun.
All right, well, there you go. I'm glad I did my research, Gore. I think I know exactly what this comp is now.
Yeah,
that 30% is looking more like 100% now.
Suddenly, it's opened up a little bit more. I'm curious to see it. I will admit I did not open Mike's stream and watch him just smacking a Ymir bot, so we'll see exactly where this ends up or what this ends up looking like. Hecate, Loki, Jinwei. Something we've talked about, now Susanoo on the other side, and I think should be talked about, is I don't know what PBM's build will look like on any of the other gods. Odin, we saw from, and the proof was in the pudding with Saw earlier, tanky, can be very, very, very tanky. Ymir, Bacchus, guess what? Tanky. They can be very, very, very tanky. One of those has more side, or one side has a little bit more than the others, and that's where maybe some alarm bells start to go off, right? Where you're starting to wonder, okay, wait a minute, now they've got a Ymir and a Bacchus that can initiate, people who can go in and cause a lot of trouble. Are you going to be able to do the same with the god selection that we have on Team But with 5Ms?
I mean, it seems like it. The Odin Cage is always going to be fantastic. Even with all the Phantom Shells in the meta, they're used mostly for extra HP, sometimes to get out of Odin Cage and things like that. So I think you're always going to be able to get value there. Open the Gates, just one of the best tools to try and rip someone back in that's escaping. Not a lot of people running beads at the moment, so as long as you're not near your support, who usually has that squad-wide purification, you're going to get value from Open the Gates. And I'm just thinking about a Loki diving someone with the help of World Weaver. If you were worried about your 1v1, now you got that 1v2 energy, and that's going to be very difficult to try and live through. So I don't hate the composition, but Borscht definitely has the ability to just bring it to him early.
Well, the question is going to be, can they do it, and will they do it? We'll find out in game number 1. So we jump into a Team But with 5Ms on the left side. And Scream playing under locked in right now. And then, of course, on the other side, Borscht, Baskin, Rat Milk, Pagon, Find OK, and Panda Cat. Whether they get aggressive and where they might get aggressive is the big deal. For the first time in a little while, we don't have Team But with 5Ms grouped up as 5 all together. Meanwhile, you still have a pretty large grouping from the other squad. And it's just whether or not they happen to cross paths. I see no one on Team But with 5Ms walking super risky outside of maybe Mike, who's just going to get eyes on the Ymir. And also leave the rest of us outside of, I guess, Trelly, who was doing his research. Really pondering what we're about to see. And you know what? Going up against the Ymir bot, perfect training knowing that Find OK is on Ymir. Gonna be a lot more active than a Ymir bot, but at least the god's the same.
Yep, he knows exactly what he's bringing to the table. And honestly, he wasn't trying to hide any of this, right? He just did this on stream. This was not like strat that I leaked. Bro was just live saying, hey, here's my Neath support build, and I am going to be practicing it for the entirety of the lead up period to this matchup. At the very least, you're going to bring a ton of clear over to lane. Your safety, not so much, but it's all going to be about where to Scream or Winter Arc locked in, I guess, decide to get active, and can you get the World Weavers onto those targets? Definitely a possibility. Keep our eyes on it. Level 2, not quite hit just yet, so no real fear in the duo lane, but I'm going to be watching because Rat Milk and Winter Arc. Listen, I know it's Scream, but I'd prefer just to call him the name I see because I'm going to be like going up of instinct more often than not. Yeah. Regardless, those are the guys that are going to be starting the fights more often than not. So I'll keep my eye on them, see where they try to use that pressure.
Up, down for Cherry. I'm also really interested in Baskin. I mean, a player whose name for years has been synonymous with just mechanical talent. And winning, usually. We'll see how it goes. Maybe too aggressive. Goes in for a low health bar. Doesn't get the kill out of the Odin. No, Cherry jumps back in and locked in so far. Scream, he hasn't been able to close the gap. And Baskin, right now, still alive. Need an auto. Gets the auto. They go kill for kill. Scream's low. You have to play carefully. Blink from Rat Milk has the teleport there, and the damage is good. And it's a 2-1 lead now. Borscht with the first blood and a second one to boot.
I mean, definitely more worth it for Borscht. You're giving 2 kills over to Rat Milk. You get the first blood as well. Sure, Baskin falls down, but he also grabs 2 assists. That's not bad, but look at this. Rat Milk immediately teleports over, could try and find some aggression. Is PBM the target, or do you go for Cyclones? It doesn't matter. Just find one of them.
Yeah, right now you found one of them. One thing that's great about Backflip on Neath and Smite 2 is it activates those weaves, and that is maybe a good example. Just being able to get a nice little AoE route and a safe retreat for an otherwise relatively squishy god right now. I'm watching this. It is, no offense to the other lanes, but it is hands down the most interesting thing in this game right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what we expected to see from Mike, right? He's always going to put on a show. In this case, doesn't end up falling to that early gank. Did use the Phantom Shell, but that's going to be just fine. Like duo lane will be living that gank, and I love that play from Rat Milk, right? You go to solo lane, you get 2 kills, immediately teleport over, and say, what else can I do? I'm not satisfied with just 2 kills. I am still looking for as much aggression as possible, which I think is just a great way to try and play when you're on Susano up against the Loki. You're going to get the better end of the majority of trades until late game. So you gotta just push that lead where you can. Level 5 hit for both BennyQ and Pagon. And by the way, the promo that we used to do when BennyQ would face Pagon, was that the blood feud or no?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of like blood feud, brother versus brother.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. We definitely would hype it up. I just didn't remember if that's what the blood feud was.
There was I think there was also a time where we did like, I think it was Scarabs and Sot when like there's a lot of like team got kicked, someone got kicked off some team, and yeah, something like that. Blood feud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we back in the blood feud? Is what I'm wondering.
You know what? Yeah, we can be back in the blood feud.
I mean, it was your voice, man. So I'm just, I don't want to use it. I thought you had the rights to that.
I don't know who owns what anymore. You know what? Charlie, you're right. Up front, I'll go ahead and assume that I have the rights of my voice since I am the owner of said voice.
Right, but like, do I have to give you a quarter every time I say blood feud? Is kind of what I'm.
No, I think there's more legal stuff that I don't know about that you'd need for that.
All right, well, we can worry about that later.
Wait, hold on. Yes. So, give me a quarter.
All right, I'll never say those words again. But we do have the brothers versing each other for the time being. Yeah, I've got Mike's support Neath build memorized by fart. I'll let you guys know if he changes anything up that he wasn't doing to the Ymir bot. Cyclone Spin under a little bit of trouble, but has Airstrike to get out if need be. Actually might be Mike who's the guy who's getting ran down, and he certainly will. The Neath support, only one backflip, not gonna get you out of that one.
Pagon gets relatively low as well. Doesn't seem to be in too much trouble. Cyclone Spin already used ult and is getting chased down. Deep pulled back in. Auto is good. Rat Milk puts a 4th on the board, all on the jungler. And that shows efficacy on the right side of the map and the left side of the map. And Borscht. I mean, Trelly, you had said it. They could get active and aggressive early and fast, and they have done exactly that. Now, wrapped onto the Loki, pulled back in. You are in a bad spot if you're screening the blink. Creates a little bit of distance. Teleport in. Rat Milk trying to close the gap. You need a little bit more. Goes forward.
I'll find him. He still got
Just
him.
needs a little bit. Wow. There it is. Has the damage. And a 5th. 5 for 5. All in the jungle.
Yeah, but why is the gold so even? Like, XP-wise, yeah, Baskin's pretty far behind. But everyone else seems relatively even, right? I mean, Final K and Panda have a level lead, and so does Pagon. So the farming is ridiculous for a team name, but with 5 M's. Man, I mean, I'm shocked at how even this is, just considering the XP still in favor of Borscht, regardless. Must be part of those gold camps. Again, something that has come up time and time again, is that those gold camps are worth a ton of gold, but grant you 0 XP. So if you trade the gold camps for a buff, the team that's getting the buffs are going to be winning in XP, but losing in gold. So that must be what's happening here. Team name with 5 M's, pretty consistent on confirming those gold camps, but it's losing out on farm elsewhere. Borscht wants to pull a gold here. They're all grouped up here. They don't have any sort of Sunder, but they do have a Ymir ult. If anything, it's gonna be just PBM to walk up in time. Can he steal? No. Okay confirms it, and Borscht puts even more gold in their pocket. That's the first gold Fury of the game down.
You know, despite that, it's not as big of a gold lead as I was actually thinking I was going to look up to see. I was feeling, 5 kills, gold Fury this early on. Under 1,000 still, actually. So it is a lead. Borscht maybe a little bit more work to do. They want to make that lead as large as possible. Hecate in mid, Minikyu gonna use the teleport to get away, and that ultimately gonna be down for a little while. There's Raphill showing presence anywhere, everywhere. And in mid is actually the only place it hasn't impacted things too heavily. Cyclone Spin stunned out. And I'm Shelly, as much as I want to see where Cyclone Spin goes, we kind of know the Jingwei thing. Go for crit, deal crit damage, woohoo. I'm keeping my eyes on Mike every time I come in this lane. Of course, he just backed, so, you know, incredibly nothing going on right now. But the Lifebinder pick up early on. So a little bit of cooldown, some intelligence, some max health. Like, feels like maybe leaning into the tankiness.
Yeah, he went Lifebinder, Stone of Binding, Soul Reaver. That was the Ymir jungle, or Ymir jungle practice build. Again, I'll let you know if he strays from it, but he might just have a build that he goes, and that's that. Does good bits of damage, has sustain, not so much peel, and Mike might need a little bit of that right now.
Yeah, honestly, the health is doing a lot of work, though. They are able to get a kill, a shutdown. Nonetheless, Rat Milk taken down, and they don't even have to trade out. I thought BBM for sure was going to die there, but instead, the lockdown from both him and the team, mainly the team, come in clutch, get that kill. And now you just need to kind of exert that force elsewhere, but a massive, massive shutdown to grab.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. The fact that Borscht has all 5 of their kills on one player, right? Once Rat Milk dies, that lead shrinks up. Scream had already been farming the map so well, taking every single buff away. This Loki was a menace. Now has a level lead in the jungle. Again, Baskin was where I think the majority of that gold differential was. This Bacchus can't clear the wave as quickly, as easily as Cherry. And even he is falling a little bit behind in that solo lane just by nature of, well, good farm. And the Genji's buff. This Genji's guard item received a pretty large buff. So any physical solo laners that are up against magicals are going to have a much better time early on, which is exactly what Cherry has to deal with now. He's going to be tankier. He's going to be getting his cooldown reset, and he's not really going to care about anything that Baskin does.
And we've seen a good Odin can get out of hand pretty crazy. It's a level lead, we'll maybe call it half a level, depending on when Baskin takes over to 11. But a lead, nonetheless, for a team, but with 5 Ms. And it is just making sure to maintain that across all portions of life. That Gold Fairy earlier that went towards Borscht. 5 kills that went towards Borscht. It's 2 levels now in the jungle. Scream with a small lead. We'll call it 1.5 because we just saw Rat Milk tick over to 10. And the gold has slowly but surely crawled its way back to pretty much even. And now we have to look at it. Scream with a little bit of trouble. Has Cherry for help. Good damage. Nice wall, but not enough to lock him down. Now he's looking for the kill. Gets the ult and gets a lockdown. Takes out Panda Cat. The chase is on. Pagon rotates in. Pagon getting work done. Rat Milk getting chased out. Stun not going to connect from Cherry. And instead, you're a little isolated right now. If you Scream, the team behind you, same for Cyclone Spin, who has no answer for the CC that gets thrown his way. Now it's Cherry versus the world, and the world is surrounding him. The world throws up a wall. The world is locking him down, and the world has the damage to get yet another kill. A massive wipe from Team But with 5 Ms.
Yep, Borscht picks that one up, no problem. All the while, the support, Mike, just clearing waves over in dual lane. Does not want Cyclone Spin's farm to go to waste. Does not take it. That all starts with a nice ultimate on Defiant. Okay, trying to find the pick, but he just lives through too much. And now, second gold fury of the game, going the way of Borscht. Uncontested by Team But with 5 Ms. And that's a great rotation, by the way, from Cherry. I mean, the Odin gets there, says, hey, team, I got you. I'll help out. Wasn't able to get too much done. It was necessary, but that was the majority of the lead, right? I think that Cherry had a lot of that gold in hand, and because he finally falls down, Baskin's able to catch back up. He's going to get a little bit tankier, as you can see. Breastplate, Mystical Mail coming through. This Bacchus was having a rough time, but I think that wipe and that gold fury just about caught him back up.
Make sure that everything is... I mean, I'm going to use the term even again. Borscht finally as a team ahead. And you can see that taking place. Just like sprinkling across all of the roles. And we'll see how it continues to excel as they continue to push forward. Massive buff, as we just saw, spawn in over on this left side of the map. Pretty good if you're going for an early objective. Maybe pretty good if you're going for an awkward fight over and right. But I'm keeping my eyes on mid, right? Specifically for Hecate, I feel like this is a god. And Trelly, as I know, you have an insane amount of magic shields that get displayed all the time.
Oh yeah, big time.
And so I can, and my expectations with Hecate have been aligned with the fact that usually does a lot more as the game goes on. Same thing I can say for Jing Wei, because right now you need that sentiment. Cyclone takes a lot of damage, stunned just a little shy from PBM of getting him under the tower and maybe adding a little extra damage, maybe getting a kill. Aegis used in mid. And the way the game's going, I mean, Borscht are just controlling every ability, every lane, and forcing backs out of Teambo with 5Ms.
And that's the other thing. You have to worry about using all these ultimates just for fun, right? In the jungle. I mean, of course, Cyclone needed him. He had to get out. That airstrike was completely necessary, but there was a little bit of a 1v1 in mid between BennyQ and Pagon, just chucking ultimates at each other, pulling the Aegis off of BennyQ. So now, not only does he not have the relic, not only do you not have your ultimate, could be in a bit of trouble. Ratmilk has an opening. You can try and pull the trigger on the Hecate in the mid lane. It could be the idea, or just continue up that farm game, despite the double gold furies, as you've already highlighted. Even with 5M just slowly closing back in. Pyromancer will certainly help. This time Runic Bomb goes over to nobody yet, and they have not decided to pick it up. Finally, there we go. So Final K has that Runic Bomb. And remember, with no Sunders in the game, for the majority of this game, that's going to be the highest contention point, is that Runic Bomb. Eventually, if Mike builds enough damage, like a big weave explosion might be able to contest. Loki's damage starts to get quite high on her, etc. But the Runic Bomb is really going to be the end-all, be-all confirmation as this game continues. So Pyromancer just very important to try and look at. Something else I noticed is because of this big influx in Anubis play, because of the Typhon's Fangs buff, you would expect Pagon to build into it at some point, but opts to just go for the Bloodbound book. I mean, this build has been around for a while, but the reason Anubis came back so hard was usually because of that Typhon's Fang, but just opting to go with the old tried and true.
Yeah, there's a lot, again, like you said, that can maybe change, especially with the way the builds have been going lately. I am just really flabbergasted to see where this damage, well, maybe I guess how effective it is. Like you said, I guess tried and true is the reason you call it that, right? Because it works. And so maybe I shouldn't be flabbergasted by it. It's just going to go back to what we know is able to find success. 2-0-2 for the Anubis, looks pretty good. 5-1-4, still looking really solid, but the kills have slowed down. Borscht have been able to slowly climb up that gold lead ever so surely. And now, Trelly, it's just the question and time of whether they go for this Fury. I see a large grouping. This feels like a Fury call for Borscht, or a forced fight, even if they're unable to get the Fury.
And look around, Cyclone Spin still stuck under tower, is not going to be here for a little bit. And of course, Scream's on the right side of the map. Baskin's booking it over as fast as he can. It'll be a bit before Winter Arc is coming, arrives, and Cherry not taking too much damage. You're right, Gore, it's a back and forth, but no one really trying to commit to this Gold Fury just yet. Borscht picks it up, puts it back down a few different times, but it seems like they want the fight.
Baskin coming in from below, coming in from behind, has exactly the target in mind. PBM lockdown wall just a little late. That teleport might actually be beneficial for Borscht. It brings him right back to Cherry's waiting lap, and they're going to pick him up as a kill. BennyQ with the attempt to peel, the attempt to get damage instead. Maybe sells out his teammate too. Picked up by Borscht, and they're all still alive enough, right? You have a couple of backs, Ratmilk specifically. But maybe a few more now. Baskin as well. Going to have to back. Fury started up. With a DPS check and no one nearby. Unless BennyQ has something magical. It looks like this is going to be yet another Fury to Borscht and a little more gold in the pockets.
And then I wonder what the call was from Winter Arc, right? Maybe if the whole team said, hey, Scream, just go split push. We cannot win this. Or they felt like they could. I'm not really sure, because it seemed like they stepped forward confident despite not having their junglers, despite being down 3-11 in kills. But at the very least, you were able to give some free farm over to your Loki. Unfortunately for Pagon, did miss the wrap. Probably felt like that wrap was on point and sent out the death gaze. Not going to net much, but not going to be the end of the world either. Pagon hasn't been under too much threat. 2-0-3. Usually just drops damage and retreats. There's ever going to be any sort of trouble. But yeah, I'm not liking the idea of stepping up 4v5 when you're behind like this. I get the idea of just let's just go in for a small steal, but it seemed like Teambo with 5Ms was really trying to commit to something there. All the while, Scream's on the right side of the map. Not going to be your best chance to defend a Gold Fury, and that's a third one for Borscht. We're going to be seeing Agent Fury here soon, and that'll certainly help out if they decide to group up and go for some objectives.
Gives them some opportunity. Keeping my name on team name, but with 5Ms, despite the fact that Borscht are in the lead, 8 kills ahead, gold in their favor. It just feels like this game, especially now that we're 18 minutes in, admittedly the gold difference is enough that we're seeing some items online on the right side that we're maybe lacking on the other. But you've got a lot of late game damage dealers on team, but with 5Ms. And so where they can find their steps into this game maybe have to be around that fire giant. You don't necessarily want to let it up to the other side. Borscht, meanwhile, playing simple. Pyromancer back on the board, so maybe gives them something to target that's not quite as big of a commitment as the fire giant.
Scream rotating around. Looks like he wants to try and find a 1v1 with someone. I mean, this Loki has good itemization. Tekko Kagi, fully stacked Transcendence, and a Heartseeker already online. Not trying to fight up against Panda Cat. Something I've noticed. That Dagger of Frenzy buff has made it a mainstay in just about every ADC build. Beautiful wrap hit there, but not really a lot of damage coming in. It's the Pyromancer though. That's what Borscht is here grouped for. Love to go for it. Empty the gates wasted, but they are not going to go for the pull just yet. Just force out BennyQ's ultimate. Maybe a tier 1 tower could be their target.
I mean, you've got a pretty wide zone. Mike can get a root done. Maybe goes for the stun. They might have enough to save this, but the minions are doing just as much damage. All you really need is a little bit of presence, and that's what Borscht has in spades. So they knock down that tower. They fall back immediately. And they could even collapse. I mean, Cherry has to be careful here. Good freeze. The wall, Fine OK using to secure, but not successfully, the small gold on the side. And that's going to end up going the way of Teambo with 5Ms. But after a kill, or more specifically, a tower kill, it opens up a little bit, and it might be the first big step we've seen ahead for either of these teams. Cherry did knock down tier 1 and right, so tower math, it's 1 for 1. And maybe this is what Team Name, but with 5Ms need to get back into this. The Pyromancer started up so far uncontested. They just need to burn it a little bit quicker, and they should be in a good spot to do so. And now they have, as you had kind of put it, outside of maybe some very specific damage burst abilities, one of the best secures in the game on board.
You on board with me with how much you're enjoying the new Pyromancer sound? The
yeah,
like
oh yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds so intimidating. It sounds like an alarm of sorts. I don't know how to describe it, but
and it should be, right? Like, it's a little frightening. Like, a Rooting Bump's a pretty big deal to lose.
Exactly, and now we might get to see one used. There is a Fury being pulled on the left side. Now this would be Ancient Fury, by the way. Borscht gets it low. Panda Cat destroys it, and now your push gets a little bit easier. Remember, Ancient Fury was nerfed. No longer shuts down all structures on the map.
Yep.
It just slows down the attack speed of the first structure on the map that you can get access to. So the tier 1 in left and right, and the tier 2 in middle. Now slowed down for Borscht, but hey, once again, Scream's on the left side of the map pushing. Fire Giant started up by Borscht. Cherry doesn't take a lot of damage. They need to get into the pit. This is going down pretty quick.
Out. PDM's nearby. They need some more damage. Cage gets dropped down. Everyone's locked up, but it does not seem to be hurting Borscht whatsoever. Fine, okay, the lowest of them all, but the damage is going the other way. Mike, one more hit. and does not go down. No, instead it's exactly as you call it. Scream in the back finds Rat Milk. Baskin falls down, and it's crumbling. What a rotation from Team Name, but with 5 M's, kill after kill, and looking for one more. Has to dodge out this damage. It is a precarious game you are playing, and you've got an Odin for backup, deicide, and you don't lose one in the process. What a fight.
And that's just a teleport from Scream, man. Winter Arc locked in, was on the left side of the map, split pushing. Borscht said, okay, let's step forward, let's fight. We just got Ancient Fury. And you see the Loki teleport over, gets to the back line, and now a free Fire Giant after the deicide comes through. As it turns out, just letting Scream AFK until level 20 ended up working out pretty well for Team, but with 5 M's, they just did not have the survivability. And I saw a lot of ults being used there. Pagon got a little bit of damage with Death Gaze. Panda Cat trying to find some DPS, but it just wasn't enough to confirm those kills. Unfortunately, Rat Milk is the guy that can get to the backline, and he just wasn't able to find it. And because of that, yeah, Scream just goes to the backline and picks apart all these 1 health targets in what was a pretty handed game for Borscht, at the very least objective-wise, has completely flipped on its head. Team Ball with 5 M's with 0 Gold Furies put the gold in their lead, and they are able to group up and push really wherever they want.
Counter their curses.
The world is their oyster. Admittedly, if they had been able to get the Ancient Fury, maybe they would have been a little happier. Although I guess by now it probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference anyway. But a lot to move forward with. Runic Bomb in their pocket, as you mentioned. Kind of that willingness to lean heavily into this. Void Shield gets picked up, which I think, actually, based on what you had said earlier about PBM, maybe this is a pretty large deviation from the build he was running.
Yeah, it seems like he wanted to get that extra tank stats, probably help out the physical damage dealers on his side. Remember, it's just Benny Q as the magical damage dealer, so this just seems like a situational item that ends up working out real well for his team. He is quite tanky. If he's got space between him, the extra regen helps out a ton. Does he send this out just to be annoying, or will he hold on to the World Weaver? Looks like he's going to hold on to it for now, but defense is the name of the game here for Borscht. They have to watch out for the dive potential of Team Bull with 5 M's. Tier 2 on the left, what they are after, but Pagon has plenty of clear. Try and keep minions out. Use that ultimate just to trade with Pagon. You don't have any CC immunity, you gotta use the Death Gauge.
So far, survivability is there, like you said. Ult now for Pagon down. Tier 2 on right. Slowly getting chunked. That Ymir wall buying it some time and life, but Mike is here, and I mean, I'm going to say it this way, surprisingly tanky for a Neath, right? Being able to stay alive. Cherry takes a lot of damage under the tower. Tier 2 still standing, and now you have to get away. Walls getting dropped left and right, but it's the Odin cage that's getting a lot of the work done. You need a little more from your team, though. And Scream is getting isolated, unable to get into the fight, thanks to the Bacchus that is doing a lot of zoning right now. Cherry jumps back in. A lot of the healing. Fire Giant as well, doing its job and getting the buff back in there. Ymir wall up. Tier 2 still standing. Baskin off to the right side of the lane. Scream just split pushing, as you had called it earlier, just AFK getting the job done. So what does the Bacchus do?
Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
And where do they see fit to find the stop? He's gonna rotate over, keep eyes, but it's gonna be the jump in right then. Baskin turns his eyes away, and suddenly the team with 5 M's get aggressive. And they get in there. You now have Scream. You've got an exposed Phoenix. You've got Fire Giant. You have the ability to push. You just got to get around this Ymir wall and get some damage in. Panda Cat taken down. 2 already gone. Penalty box for 50 seconds for the carry on Borscht. And the Phoenix taken down on the left-hand side.
These Ymir walls are definitely slowing the push, but finally goes down. Some good damage for Benny Q, and Mike teleports in, tries to find the kill on a fight. Okay, and they'll get the kill, Gore. Maybe could be an end call if we see another death go down, and that cage will lock it in. The Titan has to be on their mind.
Yeah, it looks so simple for him here. Baskin, how much damage can you do? And with the trade-off, you need to do a whole lot to get it done. Has a kill on the Scream, but loses his life right after. And unless it takes 9 more seconds, we got Pagon. 5, 4, 3, 2, and it looks like just a second shy of what was needed. Titan goes down, and despite a rough start, team name, but with 5 M's, they go up 1 game.
I wouldn't be surprised if the whole plan was let's just survive until Scream hits like 4 items level 20, because so many times Team Both 5M showed up to objectives, lost the fight pretty handily, lost Gold Fury, but Scream's getting a tower. Then they swap over to Fire Giant. They say, okay, we're going to go over here, try the same thing. Scream's on the left side of the map, just split pushing. Eventually, he got his itemization online, and he was able to rotate in, and they conditioned Borscht to say, wait, Scream's split pushing. We don't have to worry about Loki. Guess what? He teleports to the back line. We get a full-on deicide, and now we're in the driver's seat. Giving Scream a pick like Loki, scary stuff. Not only that, just letting him rotate into the backline for free. It's tough, but I don't think there was anyone else on Borscht that could really chase him down.
Yeah, that Fire Giant fight. I mean, it did everything they needed it to, and then some, right? The deicide Fire Giant, suddenly you're in control of the game after kind of getting bopped, you know, like not too bad, right? But all the kills, all the fights going one way. It was a very, very massive fight for Team Name, but with 5Ms. And because of it, they find themselves a win. We'll see if they can continue it or if Borscht are going to respond in kind right after this quick break.
And then I said, that's not Bacchus, that's Bilson's mother. That one always makes me laugh. But enough about my weekend. Hey, Gormizer, what's new with you?
Just picked up my Smite 2 Founders Edition.
Very nice.
Purchased it on my preferred gaming platform just yesterday.
Nice skin.
It's Cacodemon Ymir. It comes with all Smite 2 gods. Forever.
That's very cool, Gormizer, but that's nothing. Look at this. Nightstalker Neath and Ascension passes for 11 Alpha Launch gods. What do you think?
Geez, that is really super. How'd a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
Can't believe that Dandy prefers Chelly's Founders Edition to mine.
Very nice. Impressive. Let's see J-Max Founder Edition.
Look at that avatar, badge, and title. The tasteful thickness of Tier 5 Fallen Zeusia. Oh my god, it even comes with Ascension passes for all 23 Alpha gods.
Don't be like this psycho and upgrade your Founders Edition, so you don't miss out on Nightstalker Neath, Tier 5 Fallen Zeus, and Ascension passes for the first 23 gods. Upgrade today.
That's right. If you want to upgrade and be like that guy over there, you can have the better deal. You can get the, what was it, the tasteful thickness of the Tier 5 Fallen Zeus skin. Right at your disposal. You can pick them up now. Again, the Founders Edition, Deluxe Founders Edition, Ultimate Founders Edition, all on sale. If you're not sure you want to get in on it, again, maybe use exclamation point access. Use the code Smite2 Esports. Get into the game now, and then I'm telling you, this is what happened to me. I played Smite 1 for free for a little bit, and within like 2 weeks, I was like, I gotta invest, and immediately, like the idea of getting all Smite 2 gods forever. That alone is such a tantalizing deal that I can guarantee you right now, you will want that if you get into the game, and now's the best time to get it. There's never any time like the present, and so you want to make sure you pick that up. All 3 tiers include that, but if you want things like Ascension passes for the first 23 Alpha gods, then you got to go for the Ultimate, and make sure you find that, of course, things like the Nightstalker Neath skin as well included in those. So fantastic deals. Still can't believe we are selling the every single god for one purchase thing, because that is such a good deal to pick up. And of course, some really fantastic upgrades as well. And lucky for you, probably no like psychopath murderer chasing you down. And Trelly, like, I've noticed you got like a spooky guy on your wall, so like,
Yeah,
maybe you're just like training.
I'm just worried because you've been giving me some weird looks every time I talk to you about my Founders Edition, so I've been trying to keep my distance from you. But yeah, absolute. If you want to play like team name with 5 M's, then you already know what to do. Go shout it out for you.
Yeah, just get in game, get your upgrades while you can, and then yeah, do the thing. Speaking of team name but with 5 M's, maybe you too at home can have an absolutely insane turnaround because your jungler who, admittedly, if you're in like a random match, who you've probably been flaming for AFK farming, is, comes around, picks up a kill, absolute crazy deicide around the Fire Giant. But you know what, Trelly? That was what they needed at a time they needed it. And a name like Locked In gets the job done because they were locked in and loaded. The kills, clean, 6 forward 4. It doesn't look too crazy on the aftermath. It's the play itself that really changed the landscape.
Yeah, Benny Q, top damage by a wide margin. No one in the game really even close, about 30,000 give or take on the Sakate, 3, 1, and 5. Besides that one oopsie, bringing the whole squad into Cheerio with the ultimate. Definitely not a bad look in the slightest. So that could be a pick that they try and take away from Benny in game number 2. You got to remember, it wasn't just Scream with the split push. I think that was a great look. Like, yeah. I think Scream, like, he definitely won them that fight hands down at Fire Giant, which put them in position to win the game. But the team really did have to stall and stay farmed up so that they could be put in that position, right? That was a team-wide effort. So something to consider going into game number 2. I didn't hate the Neath support, but I
Yeah.
also didn't feel like it was necessary. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It didn't do terrible. It didn't do great, but it didn't give me enough reason to not just pick like a different support. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it didn't really seem like it did anything that you couldn't do with a different support. I
Right.
mean, I guess
Yeah.
like other supports don't have as big of an AoE route, and you can't use it with or activate that with like a disengage. So maybe there's something
Right.
there, but there's definitely some lack of pressure and presence in the first few minutes that maybe it's worth trading out or balancing out one way or another. It'll be interesting to see if Mike goes back to it. It definitely did slow. I don't want to say it slowed the game down. It made the pace harder, I think, for Team Boat with 5Ms. And
Right.
because you had even mentioned it, they really only had one source of magical damage as well. So it wasn't just like oh, you're slowed down because of this. It's like, hey, your diversity of damage isn't really that wide either. Hecate and Jingwei are going to be late. This Neath is going to take a little while to get online. Like it felt like everything they needed had to wait to really get active.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. When you draft that heavy of a fizz comp, it does make Benny Q's job a lot easier. But Cyclone Spin, who already wants to get late game before he's actually doing some real damage, it gets even more difficult because you got Baskin going things like Mystical Mail into Breastplate of Valor, like not worrying about magical defense in the slightest because all that Fizz-D is what they're trying to stack up. So I don't know, something to consider, but we'll have to see if there is a different strategy here in P's and B's, because that's where you would switch it up, right? That's where the real mindset change would go.
Oh yeah, and we've seen between these teams. I mean, they're just so they're both so capable that and we said this kind of going into game one. I don't know what to expect in any given game. We just had to need support, right? And while homework had been done by Trelly and he had spotted it out because Mike had been streaming it, but that's not something I expect we're going to get every single game, and really probably shouldn't get every single game. Morgan and Finra get banned again here in game 2. And all of that was to say that Borscht, you could run the same game back, same draft, and maybe they win it, maybe they lose it again. It's just such a coin flip with these two because of how close they are. We have to look at team name, but with 5Ms. Odin available. Odin worked out pretty well, and I think we had the same conversation last time. He's just kind of good and hard to overlook for anybody else right now.
And he's just hard to kill as well. A lot of damage mitigated last game from Sherry, so I'm never going to be upset about that one. The question is, do we see the Ymir and Bacchus Combaruni here from Borscht as their top 2, or do they want to switch it up? I don't hate it. I think Baskin would have liked to be able to really contest with Cherry in lane, which Bacchus unfortunately could not do. So drafting Bacchus for something like
If
support
danger sets
could be
foot
the
on
call,
my doorway,
and then giving
I'll
Cherry
destroy
something
it.
else that might be able to
It's quite simple, really.
scrap with this Odin a bit harder. Kate is never a pick though that I'm going to be upset about, especially after what we saw NEQ do with it. So giving that over to Pagon also gives you a little bit of some movement, some good damage, etc. The Anubis was fine. It had some good moments, but I think Hekate just the extra movement in general is enough to make me value that pick a ton more.
Yeah, Hecate locked in. Bacchus I've been a huge fan of just overall. I feel like as a god, the guy just got what you need, right? Knockups. He's got different types of CC, the Intoxicate, and just kind of the stumbling around that you're forced to do. It brings a lot of control to your team that is harder to counter, which is why he goes up so high. Also very flexible, right? We saw Baskin running it. Could go back to Baskin. Could go over to Fine OK as well and be a balancing point in that regard. And the answer to him, we've seen a couple times, like Ares has been locked in, things that can prevent like a belly flop or a retreat. Same thing for gods when you're up against things like a Susano. So maybe you have that. Susano also available and was really, really, really looking good for Rat Milk in the first few minutes last time around. So maybe that's where Team But with 5Ms want to go. Maybe they want to do something like last time. Maybe we see Neath locked in and we have no idea where it goes until the final gods alongside it.
I would love a Ymir or an Athena. Like, honestly, the Athena is so-so. I do think the Ymir is much better, but I would love one of them. Just to have CC, like hard CC that stops the burp. Also gives you good setup for your team, good lockdown. But we're not going to see that. You're going to see the Neath. Could be a support pick, could go to Benny Q. I will hold my breath on that one once again, but you don't get to play Ymir if you are Mike, because that one has been taken away over by Borscht along with the honor. So pretty similar draft so far here for Borscht. I mean, honestly, for both teams. Besides that Hecate, if Team with 5Ms just grab Anubis, they would have just flip-flopped. So let's see what that last pick's going to be. Is it something like the Athena and you said Neath to mid? Or is it Cuckoo, Anubis? I mean, it's weird here because you assume that Neath is going support. And the pick that the only other mid laner that I didn't mention, of course, is going to be the one that's hovered here. And it's going to be the new one. So yeah, Mike really liking this Neath support. Just going to stick to it, it seems.
Yeah. I don't even know where to follow up. It did okay. Right? It definitely didn't have a very strong early performance. Its mid performance picked up and its late performance was solid. So maybe they just need to get online a little faster. You've got the Jingwei now, which maybe helps. Well, no, actually similar to last time, right? Scales a little later. Maybe the Nuwa alleviates some of that stress, right? Having a global ultimate, something that is maybe a little more active earlier than the Hecate, right? You don't have to last as long in the game.
Shall we get to it then?
But I do feel like they've fallen into some of the same pitfalls that game one gave them. The question is whether or not they can find that same level of success.
Yeah, I mean, this is what, like 80% run back for both squads, pretty much, right? It's just the mid laners that have changed.
Yep.
The Hecate has moved from team name with 5Ms to Borscht, and Benny Q to find something new, so ending up locking in the Nuwa, which is honestly probably my second favorite mid laner at the moment. Not necessarily the best. I think that Neath and Hecate are better, but Nuwa still brings value to those closer range engagements, as well as just getting late game and then just chunking everyone with fire shards, which is always going to be good. But regardless, can we see a small adaptation that puts Borscht just overwhelmingly in favor in game number one? I think yes. So they're just going to run back the same strategy. They had 3 gold furies. They had a gold lead. It was just that one fire giant fight where everything sort of fell apart. So if you don't let Scream just free farm to level 20, maybe we're looking at a 1-0 in favor of Borscht right now.
Yeah, I mean, this will maybe be the closest you can get to the actual test of if you run those 2 drafts back. I think Borscht, again, like you said, don't really need to change too much. We'll find out in game 2 as we jump into it. Borscht are the ones to maybe keep your eyes on, especially if this goes anything like last time, which means we will be sitting back for a little while and watching Scream farm until maybe the perfect opportune moment to create the most insane storyline turnaround for his team to come and win this game. And again, this is something I mentioned last time. It's so interesting to see Borscht running around still doing the 5-man grouping thing. Nobody on Team Up with 5Ms is really doing the same, right? Like you've got Cherry kind of poking his head around, Mike kind of poking his head around, but they aren't doing what we've seen pretty much every other team do in terms of their level of aggression and want to fight.
And that's the thing. These early kills can be really snowbally. So when you're a team like Team with 5Ms, where you've got a Jingwei who's not going to do much early, when you've got a Neath support that's really not going to do much early, you don't want to fight against gods like Ymir and Susanoo and Bacchus. So I can understand. I think Team with 5Ms have the ability to do these things, but they are choosing to dial it back. Once again, this is something we've seen time and time again, where game 1 happens, no Sunders picked up, and then game 2, 2 Sunders picked up, both from the solo lane this time around. Baskin and Cherry have grabbed them. Usually it's, if one guy gets Sunder and I didn't, I'm going to get to lane late. I'm not going to hit level 2 and I'm going to lose pressure. But both Odin and Bacchus have picked it up. So we don't have to worry about that one. And we can look at some more potential steals towards the objectives later on.
Yeah, it makes a much more tantalizing conversation, I want to say, around some of those objectives and really just the play in general. Maybe even for the Odin, who's got a lot of damage and is able to put Baskin at least back against the tower line. Last time around, though, it was a really interesting early moment. Borscht got first blood onto Cherry, then it was traded back, but then a second kill goes to Borscht anyway. It was a very, very interesting start, and Rat Milk got both of those kills. So Rat Milk looking to try and repeat success. Baskin maybe needing some of that assistance to get this lane back under control. Because as you had mentioned, I believe it was Genji's first as well for Cherry, which just felt even stronger when it came down to the lane.
I want to see exactly how Scream decides to play this game, just because we know that we saw him essentially AFK until level 20 after the team started going behind. It wasn't as if Scream didn't try to find ganks early on. He did, much like this one. At tower line are Borscht, and there is a Loki behind them. Does spell good news, but can you find a kill? Can you even get your team there in time? You got to switch to Fine OK, because Panda Cat's not dying.
Yeah, you need to find the lockdown to slow something. Mike with a root, anything. And they had the damage. I mean, you saw the dump on to Fine OK looked great. It was just the distance, the ability to close that gap, not really there yet.
I think it was target selection, really.
Yeah, like, that too.
Yeah, Scream went all in on Panda Cat, which would have been nice, but the rest of Team But with 5Ms were still under tower. I mean, you can't get more out of position, right? When you're at underneath tower, I think both Fino and Panda Cat were tanking tower shots essentially. But it didn't matter. They just didn't have help from Cyclone and PBM, and that just goes to show why we're not seeing Team But with 5Ms go for those early 5v5s. They don't feel confident in their damage currently, because that's not really what Jingwei and Neath support are playing for. They need some itemization before they can fight back.
Yeah, that's, I mean, just the way that it's been for them. And I actually kind of appreciate these, I guess, slower pace, right? We haven't seen a huge explosion in either lane, despite some attempts to make it happen on the side of Team But with 5Ms. Kind of interesting to me that Ratmilk isn't necessarily finding or hunting for some of those explosive plays. But realistically, what all can you do? When I mean, Nuwa, especially when ult comes online here relatively soon, it's going to be very difficult to lock down. You come over to this lane in duo, and realistically, they both have pretty decent escapes as well. So unless you can catch them out like perfect, opportune timing, it might not work out as well for you. And then Odin's Odin. So really, where are you going to go? I think last time got off to a great start. Surprised to see Scream come in, invade, enabled. And looked like he maybe wanted to fight a little more, or at least just get the poke. And, well, we'll get the buff, we'll get the poke, and we'll get out with his life. Same for Cherry.
It's a good fight to go for. You can see Ratmilk only level 4, no access to the ultimate. You don't want to fight a Loki who has Assassinate. So, unfortunately, your speed buff is forfeit to Winter Arc locked in. Dude, I hate how simple it is for all these guys to keep changing their names. We don't have PBM drops on anymore, but we got Winter Arc locked in to deal with until Scream decides to change that one up again. Regardless, in a good spot, and definitely showed that he knows what he can fight, right? Ratmilk's going to get the better end of most 1v1s until late game, but when you're up a level, when you have a whole other ability, yeah, you're not going to try and take that 1v1, and your speed buff is definitely going to go down. With that being said, though, we did see a bit of 1v1 action between BennyQ and Pagon. It's a bit different, though, when you have a Nuwa, right? You're not really trading ultimates with Akate to fight. You're trading them because you don't want to get pulled in and you don't have CC immunity besides using your ult. So, not much kill potential from BennyQ, but he could definitely use that ult to help his teammates elsewhere. And remember, PBM also has the global presence. So if you're sitting at like half health late game and you get hit by a Soul Reaver, Nuwa, and Neath ult, you're probably going down.
Yeah, there's a lot, I guess combo potential is what we would call it, right? Just a lot that can find you really at the blink of an eye and turn a fight. I was going to say turn this game around. The game hadn't really gone anywhere. It can't get turned around just yet. To just really kind of cause some catastrophic disaster for someone on Borscht. It's just whether or not they get there. I'm actually really surprised with the, I'm going to call it patience from, I'm also going to call Borscht out more specifically, because I feel like Team But with 5Ms, like this is like the ideal pace, right? Like you don't want to fight. You want to get gold. You want to get your items. You want to get this Jingwei to the point where she's got crit. You want to get Mike back about 3 items into his build. You want to let Nuwa and Loki more specifically farm up and just get to those late game carries. But because of the way they're farming, and you had kind of already mentioned this with Ratmilk falling behind, there's not an opportunity for Borscht to fight as heavily as maybe they could and maybe should be right now.
Haven't seen it yet, but hey, this is a completely different pace than we're used to from game number 1. Remember, it was
Honestly, that I'm used to in Smite too.
yeah, it was a whole lot of action, a whole lot of objective pull. This has been very passive with minimal invades, if anything. So completely different. Even off the back of a ton of pressure from Final K and Panda Cat, I mean, you can't really get more kill potential than a Ymir and an on her early on. So it's pretty clear why Cyclone and PBM have spent a ton of time at their tower line. But purple buff could be exactly where you want to be if you're Borscht. Because again, these hunters, they don't do a lot of damage right now. Trying to steal this purple buff should be pretty free, right? And that's exactly what happens. They show up. Now Baskin might be in a little bit of trouble. Does get caged out. Do we see a kill come through?
Well, so far, low health for Cherry. What seems to be A-OK. Baskin also low. Is he going to be able to find something, maybe get something done? Good knock-up, creates some space, avoids the dunkdom. The Odin has a stun, but there's only so much you can do to delay this one. First blood with the daggers goes over to Scream. Now Mike trying to run away. Low health on the Neath. Seems to be fine, though, right now, and the teleport doesn't connect with Mike himself. He gets onto the tower line, now with a new wall. At least to create some trouble in the jungle. It's a kill, and done. Teambo with 5Ms take the lead.
Certainly, dude. That was getting close, though. Baskin did a ton of damage over towards Cherry. If Scream wasn't there, of course, Cherry wouldn't have tried to fight, but regardless, gotta watch out for it. First blood goes the way of Winter Arc locked in, and that's exactly where you want it. If we learned anything from game number 1, get Scream to level 20. Let him power farm, and then you go from there. So getting him off of first blood, definitely a good way to go about it. You got Transcendence, start stacking it up. And he is level 9, 2 levels ahead of Ratmail currently, and only trying to improve that. Something else I've noticed is that Scream grabs every single buff without question. Like, there are some junglers that will leave a red buff for a mid laner. Scream is not one of those junglers. He says, kick rocks, Benny. I'm going to be taking every single bit of farm, and I'm going to be picking it up for myself. Hey, it's been working out for him, though. Letting the Loki just be the hard carry for this team so far. As a netted team knit with 5Ms. At least a 1-0 lead currently. I'll have to see if it continues. Definitely going to need some help tanking this one up. The PBM shows up. The Queen Naga would be great for an early Gold Fury. And Teambo with 5Ms already has it half health.
You have to be a little careful for Cyclone Spin. Ult gets used by the on her. Not a lot of the spears connect, but you're kind of awkwardly isolated. You have an ult coming in, though, from your Neath. 250 damage, not bad for a support. And then you hit a few shots. There's going to be the airstrike and new wall ults as well. It's not enough damage to take down Panda Cat. Just goes to show something you had kind of mentioned earlier, which is that any fight that you think you're winning can really turn on its head. I mean, it doesn't result in kills, but Borscht, you have to fall back there or else you will go down.
Fine, okay. Here's Cyclone back into the wall. Unfortunately, Freeze off the mark, but at least stalling this back until Ratmill can show up. Is the dash good? Yes, it certainly is. There will not be a kill onto Jingwei at the very least. But remember, I do believe that you have plenty of time to try and go for a Gold Fury here. And yeah, it looks like a switch up from Mike's build as well. Goes for the Triton's Conch. Definitely a strong item. Usually the mainstay starter for a while. For solo laners, but hasn't really been seen ever since the Genji's Guard buffs and the Mystical Mail has been the option, physical and magicals respectively. But hey, on a support, I think it still works out well, and Neath scales so well with strength and int, you're never gonna be mad at those stats.
Right now, invade successful from Borscht. Charlie, I'm going to be honest, I thought there was about to be a little bit more. I thought, you know, team with 5Ms weren't going to stand for it. They were getting aggressive. Not a lot of ults to their name, and maybe the will to fight kind of lacking in that regard. So instead, it's just the invade. And like you said, with some of the stats online, you'd think they'd be feeling... I'm still going to say a little more aggressive, but no. Same pace of game, same setup. About, what, 700 gold, if even, separating these two teams. And I'm just watching... kind of the timers in my mind are the Loki build, which is a little different if I'm remembering. Actually, you might be able to correct me on that, because I know Tekokage Transcendence, like, this has been very, very popular. Sometimes it's hi-rez instead, but Loki, the Transcendence has been up there. But I'm also keeping my eye on Cyclone Spin, just because I feel like that build, that as a Jingwei, is the true, like, telltale sign of this team feels ready to be aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that Cyclone Spin has not been afraid of taking 1v1s, or at least, you know, some fights over in duo, but also understands that at any moment, Panda Cat could hit an impale into a pillar and just ult and kill. So I like the cautiousness until Benny Q and PBM start getting active over on that side of the map with their global ults from this Jingwei. You don't have your Devos stacked up. You don't have the full executioner like Panda has. You got to treat that lane with a little bit of respect. And also, Final K has kind of been living over there. There's been a lot of Ymir presence on this side of the map. Rat Milk and Scream are here as well, hiding out. I do not think Scream's been noticed, but he just used an ability just to tell him he was there. It sounded like he just did. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, now seen, spotted out, a lot of damage, has a lot in return, but man, a 1v3 might not be the way to go.
Oh,
Tries to come around, but a great impale. What a shot from Panda Cat. Now Cherio, he's teleported over, but he might be too late. I mean, they're all under tower, they're backing. Unless you're gonna make a crazy dive. Yeah, no, this is the right call. Fall back, stay safe. Maybe reset for your team to go again in the future.
Man, I mean, the auto attack to reveal Scream would have been nice, but the impale to kill while invis is just so clean. It's been a while since we've seen this version of Panda Cat where he's just locking on her and trying to own everyone on the map, and it's such a joy to witness. I truthfully don't know why Scream popped an ability early. He definitely revealed to Borscht that he was there. Unfortunately, did not have the damage to find the kill thanks to those two Phantom Shells stacked on top of each other. So now, a little bit of extra pressure to wear it out for. Finally, we have our second kill of the game. Wait, the gold's even. It's exactly even. Oh, it's gone. It was exactly even for a second, Gore. I've never seen that before.
I'm going to be honest. I think the closest I've ever seen is like 1 gold apart. So the fact that it was legitimately the same numbers is very, very...
I'm just watching
amazing. This might be
so
something
close.
that only we can really be geeking out over, given the
no one else will care. But hey, go back and watch, chat. They were exactly even for at least like 4 different ticks. That was so cool. I'm sorry. I've been casting a lot of Smite, and we've seen like 6 gold differential, 4 gold differential, 8 gold differential. I've never seen it even for that long, except when the game just starts. Anyways,
yeah, then we get back there.
Yeah, our nerd moment's over.
Oh man, we gotta focus on Charlie. My nerd moments are never over. That's how I just live my life, from nerd moment to nerd moment. Cherry, I love to see this a little bit of I don't even know if I'd call it aggressive play, but like kind of no fear in the face of the Bacchus, no fear just on this side of the map in general. And I think at this point, that kind of makes sense. No junglers have really been showing up over there. Nothing crazy's been happening. A lot of the fight is on this left side. And it looked like maybe there's a plan for someone to try and solo this Fury. I mean, the buffs are dropped. You've got 2 little snake guys fighting for their lives. But now that they're gone, not a whole lot to do against this Fury. 2 supports that'll meet in the jungle, 2 carries that'll meet in their lane, and otherwise everybody's just right back to where they were at.
For the time being, Gold Fury is still where both of these guys want to go. As you can see, Mike just sort of testing the water, saying, hey, you guys got vision? Immediately, Borscht shows up. The Gold Fury attempts die there for the time being. But Cherry was split pushing, got plenty of farm, cleared the wave, and didn't do anything with it. That's what I was waiting for. With the proxied wave, though, buys you some time, so Cherry shows up. Walks over a little bit of vision, so at least shows Borscht, hey, we could have went for Gold Fury, but now Cherry's just kind of looking. Can he find anyone to cage? Is there any moment the team both 5Ms could use to fight? No, if anything, it's Borscht who's looking for an engagement, forcing out the ult from Scream. And that was off of aggression towards the Pyromancer, so not having assassinates, that's a pretty big deal. That cooldown's going to be down for a bit.
Mike has stun if needed, but doesn't seem to be in the zone to use it, channeled it for a second. Now you have to just make sure you escape. That's actually a pull on the video. Oh my god, the damage afterward was all there. And unfortunately for Mike, he gets drawn right back into it. 2 quick succession kills for Borscht. And man, oh man, just delete buttons left and right now. Pyromancer, that should be a pretty easy pickup for him. Cherry's nearby. And is going to contest, at least. Cyclone Spin as well is here. Might not be the fight you want to take. Great cage. Creates a little bit of space. Forces Rat Milk to play carefully. Might even be able to get the kill here. That shell! The shell is so clutch, and there's no one to get the last hit. Cherry, leap over the wall. Wants something, just cannot find it now. Impale, wall, damage, good. And Borscht take him down. I mean, you're talking catastrophe in the blink of an eye for Team Boat with 5Ms with those kills going the one way. Pyromancer as well. Luckily, Scream is doing what Scream did last time and is on the left-hand lane, pushing down a tower.
I mean, he is, but not sure it's going to end up being worth it. I mean, Borscht has this composition that does want to get to late game as well. It's not as if, as we just saw, Benny Q doesn't really have the damage to keep up with Pagon right now. This Nuwa takes itemization, takes some time, whereas Hakate is here. She has arrived, and you gotta watch out for Pagon. Gold Fury started up. Mike, the only one nearby for the time being. He's the only one who can really go in for any attempt at a steal, but with Runic Bomb, it shouldn't be even possible. He gets it anyways. Are you kidding me, Mike?
It's you can't make it up, man. You just can't make it up. What an insane step up, a willingness to be there. And Trelly, I was gonna say, like, especially after that Gold Fury goes the way of Borscht with the Pyromancer already going their way, that fight, it was starting to lean a little red heavy. We're back to even. I mean, it's not as even as it was earlier when we had the exact same numbers, but it's about as even as you can get in a 18-minute game. I don't even know where to start. It's just, Mike's crazy.
And that's the thing. Bastion was not there. I said the Runic Bomb or the Sunder, but they didn't pull with the Bacchus, so it doesn't matter about a Runic Bomb or a Sunder. It's just a low-stake steal from a tanky Neep, and Mike hits those and makes sure to confirm it. And now the Queen Naga also going the way of Team Boat with 5M. Those are 2 back-to-back objectives that you are happy to have if you are Team Boat with 5Ms. Remember, Pyromancer, Sunder, still on the side of Bastion, still useful against a Fire Giant pull if possible, but not going to be used anytime soon, just by nature of the way this game's been going, Gore. We are playing a slow version of Smite, just trying to get to level 20, and I think both teams are okay with it, but Scream in particular, man, he loves just AFKing per farm with this Loki. And so far has been a part of 1 kill. That's it. Like that's all that Team Boat 5M has been able to find for themselves. So yeah, keep on playing the slow game. We'll see what happens. Fire Giant definitely being pulled here by Borscht, and no one from Team Boat 5M is going to be able to get here in time. It's just PBM for now. Can he stall until the squad shows up?
We've already seen just PBM sometimes is more than enough to get the job done, but you've got 2 others. Scream coming around the back as well. You've got everybody once this Jingwei gets in. It's just going to be the question of how quickly they do it. Code and Cage comes down. Damage seems to be a little too strong, but EQ, the first one taken out on this engagement. Now, you need a massive turnaround. Jingwei has to go big, but also has to get out. Scream has abandoned the fight to go for the tower, recognize things are going south, has to find progress somewhere, and instead, we'll leave it to the front lines to try and get the job done. Fire Giant started by Borscht one more time. Tier 1 in mid goes down. Scream is going to rotate back in. Baskins low. Fire Giant getting lower. Secure might be there for Team Boat with 5Ms. He might just have the team fight. Fire Giant goes to Cheerio, and the kills start rolling in. The Team Boat with 5Ms, they've got what they need. Cyclone, who's back and engaged. You've already found 3. They're chasing down Pagon. They forced out Panda, and with a lockdown, maybe 1 more here as well. What a sequence of events. Team name, but with 5Ms, they're massively on top.
And that's the thing. Baskin had the Runic Bomb and the Sunder, but when you try and stack them on top of each other, sometimes things get a bit clunky. And Cherry had the Sunder that won the day, steals away the objective, and another wipe that Borscht has. This is just like game number 1, where late rotation in from Scream picks up some kills. This time, though, the Fire Giant comes with some kills, and now they get to push forward, start getting some extra gold in their pocket. And I'm going to be real. I mean, Benny Q has been taking a lot of the beating here from Borscht. This Nuwa is not very safe, but it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, Teambo with 5Ms are cleaning up fine without him. As long as he gets his ult off, I guess that's all they need. Tier 2 tower does not drop for the time being, at least not the one in mid. But Teambo with 5Ms, they can group up, push down, essentially whatever they want. Only one Gold Fury has gone down this game, though, Gore. So Ancient Fury, I mean, it's going to be a while before we see that in play.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a a very interesting sequence of events. I mean, yeah, like you said, we haven't had enough Furies in this game. Maybe an opportunity and an opening right now for team name, but with 5Ms to try and get into a position. They're going to go ahead and grab a Pyromancer, which is going to give them a nice little boost. Thanks to the split push that Scream was providing, you're already in a pretty comfortable position in terms of the towers. I mean, half health on the tier 1 and left, both tier 2, or sorry, the tier 2 and right already gone, the tier 2 and mid pretty much gone, as far as the team with Fire Giant's going to be concerned. And meanwhile, you're more than happy to start up any engagement. I actually appreciate what Borscht are doing. There's not a lot that you're going to be looking for beyond that tier 2 line. You do not want to find a fight with team name but with 5Ms on anything but your decision and your, like, you know, turns. But now what? Fury, Pyro, Fire, all of it. Team name but with 5Ms. 10,000 gold and a whole lot of map to play.
They got their time, they're taking it slow, and they're taking everything off the map as well, which is important. Tier 1 over on left, tier 2 in middle is also very close to dropping down, so that's going to push that gold lead even further. I love this from Cheerio, though. Just kind of playing the middleman, looking for a possible cage or engage, and just making sure as well that Pagon can't free cast. This Akate still does have a ton of damage online. Remember, with Mike and Benny Q, Scream can find anyone in the jungle and just go for an easy 1v1 with a Neath ult and a Nuwa ult to help. So if you thought this Loki was scary already, remember, there's always help when you got globals on your side. And that is exactly what Teambo with 5Ms has. Tier 2 and mid seems pretty free. Fine, okay, I might have to watch his positioning because there could be an engage onto this Ymir. It does not end up happening, though. Yeah, that is pick it up.
Rat Mill? Like,
yeah, he's been taking waves. He's
been slowing him down.
Oh, they should have ulted probably to stop him. Yeah. Oh, this is bad now because no matter what, Ratmill can never get away here. Scream's in the back. Yep, Nuwa ult stalling. Eventually, Scream's gonna find him. You cannot back there. There's a Loki coming. And yeah, that's again the issue with globals. I thought that Ratmilk was just gonna take the wave then back in that grass, but tried to clear one more, and I think that was the big issue.
And now you have to figure out where you want to go and where the play is going to be. I want to push up. I mean, Phoenixes are exposed. You had to kind of mention it, but like, no Ancient Fury in play, but it will go massive for team name, but with 5Ms if they can get it. Well, honestly, it'll be after the next Fire Giant anyway, assuming you even get the next Fury. We're almost 25 minutes into this game. Again, slash lines don't look too crazy. It's only 6 kills to 5, 11 total. And the 25 minutes with the 13,000 gold in the last few minutes of gameplay have been a wild story for team name, but with 5Ms. And so it's just a question of where they're going to get aggressive and where they're going to start making plays, or maybe they're going to return back to form. Scream pushing up left, mids pushed up, and with the timers they have going for them right now, Chelly, it does feel like it's kind of a just get super far ahead. It translates to itemization, as we can see. And then, you know what? Play for the next fire.
Well, Fire Giant has spawned in, so it could be the pull already for Teambo with 5Ms. The question is, though, does Scream group up with the team, or does he continue to just push? I think his items are online, right? You've got Heartseeker, you have Soul Reaver, you have Double Pen, you've got Tekko Kagi, and a fully stacked Transcendence. Like, that is it. That is what Loki wants. You have arrived at late game. You can continue, yes, just split pushing, trying to drag the team away, or you can go for just a true 5v5 in the jungle, which I think is a lot smarter with a 15k gold lead. So that's what they do. They pull the objective. 4 of Borscht are here. Rat Milk still gone. Remember, Sunder's in play. Keep your eye on Baskin, but objectives have been going heavily in favor. They can't even step up.
Yeah, makes that 3 of Borscht are here. Plus, you had little minion guys. They were all fighting the fire giant for you. Scream is maybe looking for a little bit of poke damage again, stopping back, delaying them, pushing them further. Fire giant confirmed, and on all 5 this time for team name, but with 5 M's. This game was deathly even, and now has just been completely blown out of the water for team name, but with 5 M's. But it's not to say defense is going to be nothing from Borscht. They have a lot that they can set up here for Chelly. It's just, and again, as you had mentioned, and it's going to be repeated ad nauseum until it stops mattering. Globals. Scream can go in, and he's got 3 people behind him if needed. Globals. You can just choose a fight if you're PBM. You can decide that guy stepped out of position, and he's the one who's going to go down. Pagon eats that early, might have to go back to the fountain, might just not fight at all here. Instead, it's going to be an Odin Cage, drop down, a lot of damage, turned around, great Ymir wall, delays it, Cyclone steps forward, Phoenix is slowly but surely getting taken down, and now you've got the kill, 60 seconds gone for Baskin, stepping forward, taking out Panda Cat, and looking at the Titan team name, but with 5 M's, trying to get it done one more time. 3v5, gotta step up, gotta get something done with the damage. It just seems to be too much. Cyclone spin and Scream getting it done, and with one more hit, the Titan goes down, and it's a 2-0.
My goodness, man. Again, from the start, this was looking like Team with 5 M's really locked in how they wanted to play this game.
Yeah.
But just a night and day difference objective-wise as well. Borscht came out swinging in game number 1, got all 3 Gold Furies, played everything perfectly. This time around, Borscht didn't touch a Gold Fury. They didn't really have a chance to confirm some of these objectives. Don't get me wrong, they attempted pulls, but they could not confirm them, and I think that was the big difference maker. You got to be on point with your burst. Someone's got to be zoning. I know it's a low-stakes steal, at least the one that Mike had. The one with Cherry Sunder, that's just a Sunder diff, right? You got to make sure your timing's better, but the one where Mike stole on the Gold Fear, that could have been a nice snowball starting to start there for Borscht.
Yeah.
I really do like their team fight phase. Their 5v5s were looking crisp, but that objective play is so important once you get past that 20-minute mark, and it just wasn't that tightened up.
It is. It feels like 2 moments, because like you said, like that Mike steal, if it goes to Borscht, it's probably the start of the rest of the game for them.
Right.
It going to Mike just means that didn't happen. And then the Fire Giant steal is the start of the rest of the game for Team Nabo with 5. It helps that they got the 4 kills afterward as well. And you know what was, as we look at this post game, very specifically, 4-1-5, 3-0-4, right? Like the kill count didn't get too crazy in this game. Damage numbers still not too crazy. You know, it's easy to forget, but like the first few minutes, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Took 5 minutes before we got first blood. Like a lot of this was patient play in objectives, farm game. Who could farm a little bit stronger? Where could they find it? And Trelly, even then, it was pretty much dead even and starting to lean towards Borscht by the time we got anywhere that somebody could finally take what they could call a lead.
Yeah, and you know, you got to give shouts out to Cherry as well, because he was the true frontliner. When you have a Neath support, you're not really mitigating much damage. 10,000 there for Mike, about 40,000 there for Cherry, double anyone in the game, really. And then 4 times anyone on his own team. So that Odin was the true frontline, which was also the deterrent, right? Borscht can't get to the back line. You got to go through Cherry. You're only killing Cherry once this game, so did not end up going well. So you know what? The composition worked out well. They had that Nuwa Neath combo where, sure, again, Benny Q took a lot of the flack early on. The Nuwa seemed to be the target, but as long as he got that ult off and was able to just sit in the back line while Cherry and Scream dove, it ended up working out well for him.
Well, Trelly, first off, that I almost want Team Name but with 5 M's to lose in the 2-0 stage, and for Borscht to win, and for them to get random matched against each other again in the 2-1, just because I want to see them play again, and I don't want to have to wait forever to see it. But as I mentioned it, we can see how the bracket has been shaking out. Of course, who's been winning what and where. As you can see, Alec Hate Club and Basket of E-Kitten still going 1-0 up over there, but 2-0s, couple of 2-1s across the region, 2-1 Specifically, Food Drive for Globe, as you had mentioned, upsetting Scrumptious yesterday, or I should say in EMEA, we had a couple of 2-1s as well to really kind of give us some spice to the weekend. But where are these teams going, and what does this mean? So everybody whose name you see highlighted right now, outside of match 16 at the very bottom, will be going, if they're in the top, they're going to go up into that 2-0 area, right? So 4 of those teams matched randomly into 2 matches. 2 of those teams will be qualifying. And if you're in the bottom and you're darked out, let's zoom in a little bit. We'll look at it. Employment LARPers, Theater Thugs, which are play-by-play, knocked down to the O2 region, where next week the 4 teams that are down there will be playing, and 2 of them will be eliminated. Now, elimination from Swiss, and does need to be repeated, does not mean elimination from the Founder Series. It just means that you're going to phase 3 in the GSL qualifiers, that last chance qualifier, to try and make it into the playoffs, whereas everybody who wins through Swiss and finds their qualification goes straight to the playoffs and doesn't have to worry about it. And playoffs, again, is a 16 team double elimination bracket across 2 weeks, so there's a lot of competition that is still to be played. But next week is when we start figuring out who goes and who needs to kind of push themselves a little further. But for now, with that one coming to an end, we might be able to catch some information on the other one. For now, we're going to throw it to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
under attack. Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower has been destroyed. Your right tower is under attack. Your right tower has been destroyed.
afraid to turn out the lights? Is there something you're scared of? What's there out in the dark? Make sure to keep all your windows locked. Do you surrender? You try to stay awake. These walls you can't escape. Here's one for the lonely hearts, for the ones that fear the dark. You better run out of here. Bet you can't look the other way. Here's one for the broken road. That's the only one you know. You better run out, truth or dare. Get me out, take me anywhere but here. Oh, anywhere but here. Wanting something good to come, waiting for things to run away from. Are you just hiding? Yeah, walking into the fire, talking like you never die, like you're immortal. You try to stay awake. These walls you can't escape. Here's one for the lonely hearts, for the ones that fear the dark. You better run out of here. Bet you can't look the other way. Here's one for the broken road. That's the only one you know. You better run out, truth or dare. Get me out, take me anywhere but here. Here's one for the lonely hearts, for the ones that fear the dark. You better run out of here. Bet you can't look the other way. Here's one for the broken road. That's the only one you know. You better run out, truth or dare. Get me out, take me anywhere but here. Oh, anywhere but here. Oh, anywhere but here. Oh, anywhere but here.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Smite 2 Founders Series. And as you watched alongside Jelly and I, it was a 2-0 on the other side of, I guess, the other bracket. It's not really the other side of the bracket, but it is kind of the other side of the bracket. I'll call it the other side of the bracket as well. Had it gone 3, we probably would have jumped in and presented it, but a nice 2-0 over there as well. So, Jelly, that gives us the final everything for this weekend. But as some of it gets set up in the back, we'll be able to look through it. So if you were joining us a little bit ago, you got to watch Team Name But with 5 M's in a surprisingly fast match, I would even say, up against Borscht. Again, a lot of really cool turnarounds. Of course, we only caught a little bit of that last game, but it looked like some solid control for the most part. When we jumped in, it definitely seemed a lot more even than after the Fire Giant, after some Phoenixes and all that other stuff.
I mean, Basket of E-Kittens, Sam the Dude was up 8-0. Like, they had the lead. And unfortunately, Alec Hate Club, they got to late game. And one thing I noticed is they put Hades in mid. They gave up Neath and Hecate. Like, that's just not the play, I don't think. It's not as if Hades can't play in mid, but what Hecate and Neath bring is ridiculous amounts of safe poke. And Hades is, I'm going to all in you. And it didn't seem like there was a lot of all-in potential there. Again, we kind of came in a little bit late, but that's a small bit of analysis I can give you given the end of that game. Because when you have an 8-0 Susano, man, you need to be diving with him. And I don't think that they were really able to pull that off. Loki also getting to late game is disgusting. So maybe a draft diff there, in my opinion, at least for game 2.
Yeah, definitely something to, I mean, luckily, right, all of these teams still have one guaranteed week of play before either they take a little bit of break or they come back the next week and continue to play. And so maybe something to potentially fix up overall. But what we're getting ready for right now, And again, maybe why you'd be wondering, like, okay, the games are over. What are you guys sitting around and waiting for?
We're just chilling.
We just like hanging out. Actually,
Yeah,
as it turns out,
guys,
Charlie,
this
we'd
stream
be
actually
doing this.
doesn't end. We just chill here. When I'm not here, I just sit here and wait for it to turn back on.
Yeah. In fact, as far as you're concerned, like my existence when this stream stops, like I just stop existing until we go live the next time. Yeah, exactly. See, Trelly gets it because you also are cursed. It's this weird, like you don't realize it, but this box, it was like a Goosebumps-esque curse. It's Halloween, so this is perfect. Like literally the world outside of what you see. Like if I put my hand out here, I just don't have a hand anymore. Absolutely crazy. No, we were waiting on the brackets, which I think we bought enough time for. And what can you see? Well, you can see the matches. North America. Holy smokes, we're in for some good ones. Food Drive for Globe up against Team Name, but with 5 M's. Cowabunga against Name in Progress for the 2 O's. 2 of those teams will be going to the playoffs immediately. The other 2 will be playing in that 2-1 round that you see just to the right. You see Secret Service Look Within, Baking Soda, first name Zach, Garf's Goblins, and Allocate Club, who we just finished watching. Scrumptious and Borscht, are you kidding me? Yep. Okay, hold on. We might, I don't know who I'm going to need to talk to. We might have to get a 1-1 matchup on there. And then, of course, Enjoyment Launch, LARPers, Theater Thugs, Basket of E-Kittens, and Mr. Play-by-Play down there. 2 of those teams will be going directly to Phase 3, where they will have to play against, 8 teams from the Swiss stage. They'll be one of them, so 7 other teams that they've already been playing against, and 8 teams from the open bracket to facilitate a lot of groups. That'll all, blah, 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 blah. Top 2 teams from each group move forward to playoffs, where the other 8 teams from Swiss will be waiting, and that's the long form. Go to smiteesports.com, read the blogs. I work really hard on those.
Well, that's only one side of the bracket, right? There's a whole other region that we could be looking at as well.
Something tells me, Chelly, you want to see EMEA. Well, I've got good news. Here it is.
Well, thank you, first of all. Second of all, 2-0 matchups looking crisp. Of course, Team Risk versus Smoke Break. That's going to be an absolute banger. Mockingbird versus Giovanni Giorgio. Also going to be very clean. But I've talked about this a lot on Smite Too Long Didn't Watch. This EMEA bracket in particular, Gore, very stacked. Yodi Gang versus Chase the Enemy should be good. Old and New, I've been very impressed with going up against Bill's Goons. Man, these 1-1 matchups are looking too clean too. I don't want to miss any of this.
Yeah, the worst part about all of this is that we still have 8 games going on, so it gets like no matter what we're gonna be missing. Thank God that last week there's only 3 per region, so admitted like we'll be able to fit it all there, right? We'll be able to grab them, but yeah, there's just so many matches, and you already highlighted the EMEA ones, I think, to watch. A couple of 1-1 ones that are going to be really, really hot. A lot of 2-0s. Sure. All of the 2-0 matchups that I see next week are going to be must watches. And so I'm going to tell you now, you can go ahead and assume they're probably on the schedule for next week. It's just the rest of it that will be up in the air. But for now, Chelly, that wraps up week 2. Oh, man. And we get to look onto the horizon for week 3. And so at this point, I'll plug again. You should make sure you sign up for any of the open brackets that go on. If you're not on any of these teams, they're still going on for NA, EMEA, LATAM, Brazil, and APAC. All of those regions. It's 5 of them. If you live somewhere, odds are you can play in an open bracket for Smite 2. You can use !access to get access to the game. Follow that link. Use Smite 2 Esports as a code. And then make sure you tune in on Friday when we do Smite Too Long Didn't Watch, because that's a good way to recap, even if you were watching this weekend. But until then, from myself, from Trelly, from Bellini, who's laying on the floor over there, from Trelly's pets, presumably if there happen to be in his room as well. Of course, everyone in production and everyone at hi-rez Studios. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for more Swiss.
Made in Georgia. We ready, been ready, I waited, my turn, on God, held steady. I keep dropping back to back, I keep going if you let me.